Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Councilmember Ron Manning. Today we're talking about both the December 6th and the December 20th City Council meetings. Thanks for being here today, Ron.
You're welcome.
Our final two meetings of 2016.
Yep.
And your last meeting, your final two meetings, along
right.
with Councilmember Denise Clint.
Right.
We'll talk about that at the end of the show, but we have some changes on the City Council as we end 2016 here and move forward to 2017. Let's first off start off by talking about what we had on our December 20th agenda. One of the first items there was an oath of office for a new police officer.
Right. Steve Minion was sworn in and used to be a CSO officer, and he put in his dues, went through a very stringent training course, and we're glad to have him as one of the new police officers in Coon Rapids.
All right, and I unfortunately didn't get to go to the meeting last night, but I know usually they have a family member or someone close to the person pin on their new badge.
And his dad pinned his on.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
All right, well, welcome aboard to him, and we continue to do these when we do have new police officers and firefighters as well join us.
Right, and it's always nice to see the new faces come in, and big responsibility, but they do a real good job of screening and making sure they have the right people coming in such an important position.
Definitely. All right, Council adopted a resolution. This is accepting a donation from the Coon Rapids Crime Prevention Association.
And it's a matching fund, $2,500. And who was
Centerpoint
Centerpoint,
Energy.
that
yes.
was at Centerpoint, okay. And so, that's always nice to get donations.
That's correct, and they awarded apparently this donation back in June, $2,500 to the Heart Safe program, and it required a matching donation of the same amount. So that is being done now by the Coon Rapids Crime Prevention Association, and we've seen a lot of successful stories out there thanks to the Heart Safe programs and those AEDs that they're getting out in the community.
There's been some lives saved already, and it's been fantastic success.
All right, so I imagine they will put this money to good use. It'll be spent on training aids apparently dedicated to the Heart Safe, which includes the CPR dummies and the CPR AED training kit designed to teach hands-on CPR and AED use. And they continue to go out in the community
and my wife and I took that class, and it is really helpful. They've changed things from many years ago when they used to talk about the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and that is no longer what they advise. It's the heart pumping. Evidently that's the way they're teaching it now, and the best way of saving lives and keeping oxygen going to the brain.
Yeah, it's certainly important to have that training and have those refresher courses for people as well to know what to do in case of an emergency.
Yep.
All right, Council adopted a resolution as well accepting a donation from the Koss Family Foundation, and this is something also that benefits the police department.
Yeah, $1,500, and it's for canines, and evidently this organization gives donations throughout the whole county.
Yeah, they're apparently going around doing this. They're a nonprofit organization supporting canine programs throughout the area, and they reached out to different agencies. Obviously, there's a need, I imagine, in many communities. You can always use that extra funding. So this donation will go towards the Coon Rapids Police Department Canine Unit.
And our canines did fantastic in the last, the contest they have over in Anoka at Goodrich Field. One of the canines won the whole thing, and they both did well on it. So we have a good canine program here. All
right, and I imagine they'll put that money to good use. Council adopted a resolution. This accepts a $12,000 grant from the Coon Rapids Mortgage Assistance Foundation. This is for the Home for Generations 2 program, and this is something that they've previously done as well.
Right. The Generations for Homes 1 program was a fantastic success, and then went on with the Generations 2, and that's been a fantastic success. And so we're continuing that, and it's been an award-winning program, and there's a lot of people that have benefited by it. And the fact is, once their house is renovated, it gives ideas for other people to come in and do the same thing. It's just spurred all kinds of good economic activity, and and the upgrading of a lot of homes. So this has been a very successful and good program.
Yeah, and this money was previously used and will again be to finance the cost of the architectural design consultation that's required as part of the Home for Generations program that folks want to get these projects done in their house. So that $12,000 will go there. The Coon Rapids Mortgage Assistance Foundation has previously provided $32,500 in grants, to write down the cost of the design consultation. So obviously there's a lot of people that are interested in this program. We've seen that. We've seen the results of what they've done to their homes, which is great. So they'll continue to go forward with this. And the value of the projects that they've done, actually, that's amazing, $4.6 million.
That's incredible. Yeah.
So the program, again, will be continuing here in 2017. If anybody wants any more information, you certainly can find a bunch of information on the city's website, coonrapidsmn.gov. Talks about the program, all the rules, and then sometimes people don't realize that there's not any specific income restrictions to some of these programs. So you may think like, well, I'm not low income or I wouldn't qualify.
The house has to be 20 years old.
Yeah, there's certain obviously restrictions, but still worth checking into some of these programs.
Absolutely.
Because you never know, if you do qualify.
And that $4.6 million doesn't even count the ones we don't know about that.
Right.
Salvo was done and decided to remodel their place without even going into the programs.
Yeah, and that's the unique part of the program too, because they open all those houses up to folks in the spring, and they've got hundreds of people that come out and tour these homes and get ideas for their own homes. So it's a great idea, and it will continue here in 2017. All right, Council considered a resolution and awarded a contract. This is for the 2017 Well Rehabilitation Program. This is something that seems like we do every year as well.
Yeah, there's 3 wells and I think it's 2 pumps.
That sounds like at one of the treatment plants.
On this, it's just something that has to be kept up with. It's part of the infrastructure of the city, and if a city doesn't keep up with these things, then you have deterioration. And this is something that Coon Rapids does, every year. That it's a needed cost.
Yeah, and we certainly need our water and sewer system. This will rehab wells number 7, 12, 18, and then booster pumps at 1 and 2, which are located at the West Water Treatment Plant, which is over off of 105th Avenue, correct? By the ball field there.
That's it, yeah.
All right. Moving along to street reconstruction. I know we've talked about this a little on the last show. This always is a process until they actually get the streets going. Lots of moving parts here. This was accepting the feasibility reports and ordering the public hearing and the assessment hearings for street reconstruction that will occur in 2017.
Great. Last year, Coon Rapids concentrated on just the Minnesota State Aid roads, or the feeder roads, and I think that ended up being 7 or 8 miles. And this year, there was 1.5 miles left of the Minnesota State Aid roads, and then a total of 10.5 miles, including all the other roads that are going to be done. 20% of the cost of it comes from assessments, and then the rest are from different funds that we have, sewer fund, different things that go into helping pay for the total cost of it. And I think it said it was 1.6 million state aid for the state aid roads, so that helps, with cutting down on some of the costs of Coon Rapids city. So.
Okay. So anybody impacted by these construction projects that will occur next summer will be notified by the city if you're going to receive an assessment. That assessment hearing looks like it's coming up on February 21st. So the second council meeting in February?
The one thing I do want to mention also is I know a lot of people wonder why we only do spot curbs. And, and it does kind of look a little bit weird. You got new curb and old curb. And we just had Tim Himmer check and give us some breakdown as to what it would cost if we did the entire curb. And it comes out to about twice as much. The actual cost per foot of doing it by hand is more than the entire curb. But when you add in all the other stuff that has to be done when you do the entire curb, the total cost comes out to be about twice as expensive as if we just patch the parts that are needed.
Okay.
And so that's why it's done that way.
That's why sometimes you see the different colors mixed in with the old
Yep.
curb,
Yep.
and it's white, dark.
Yeah. And, we've asked about it a couple different times, and this time he gave us a real good breakdown as to why it costs so much more
Okay.
doing it that way.
All right, again, these will continue on. The hearings will happen again on February 21st for those impacted. If you want to learn more about which projects are going to be reconstructed or which streets next year, you can also find that information on the city's website, coonrapidsmn.gov. All of this information is available under the agenda section. You can look at all the documents and the maps for all the projects that
It's
are
a pretty
happening.
easy website to follow.
Yeah.
And so they just plug in.
Yeah, and there's not one or two main roads necessarily. There's like a long list of streets being reconstructed, so
Yeah.
hard to rattle off here.
That's right.
All right, so moving along, Council had adopted 2 resolutions, or actually 3, relating to wages and contracts. 2 of those are collective bargaining agreements, basically, with the Public Works Department and also the Coon Rapids Fire Department. And then Council also approved compensation plan for unrepresented employees for 2017.
Yeah, and the total compensation was basically about average throughout the metropolitan area. There are several things you have to look at with that. You have to look at the competitiveness for employees and possibly leaving to go in other cities if it were to lag behind. There's the arbitration, that could result in higher than what we wanted. So actually they did a really good job of coming together with these contracts. They're not exorbitant, and they basically, like I say, they about average in terms of the metro increases in other cities.
Okay, and again, these contracts that have been settled so far for Public Works and the firefighters are for 2017 and 2018, so it's a 2-year contract.
Right.
All right.
And then there's, like you say, the non-union, unrepresented employees, and that was pretty comparable.
Mirrors sort of the same
Yeah.
wage and all of that. All right, Council considered a resolution and adopted it approving the year-end budget appropriations, and there's some good news here as we head into 2017.
There is. I think it's about $1.5 million more in the budget than we thought as a result of less costs and more revenue coming in than what was predicted. However, that could be eaten up by, depending on interest rates on certain things that are fluctuating. So it's nice to have that just in case. It may be that there will be a substantial amount carried forward, but at this point here, it's kind of paper, and we don't know for sure how much will be carried forward.
Okay, so this is basically how we're ending 2016, heading into 2017.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we had for our December 20th City Council meeting. We'll jump back now to our first meeting of December, which occurred on December 6th. One of the items there we wanted to talk about was a public hearing that was held, and Council approved a resolution approving the Minnesota Investment Fund loan documents for a project by RMS Company. And if you didn't know it, apparently RMS is the largest private employer in Coon Rapids.
They're a very important company to have here, and we're very happy that they are here. They're expanding, and part of their expansion has to do with a $700,000 state aid for investment in businesses in different cities. And that loan from the state will be forgiven after 5 years. Part of the agreement is they have to stay in Coon Rapids for at least 5 years. They're going to have 100 new employees at a rate of $17 per hour without the what's the word I'm looking for, the medical and stuff.
Benefits.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. $25 an hour, including the benefits. So it's a solid occupation. For people who want 100 more employees is really significant, and we're very happy that they're expanding and staying here, and happy that they were able to get the state aid loan, and it's all kind of a win-win situation. So, I think this is going to work out very well.
Okay, so the council signed off on that, and they had to sign essentially the loan documents approving that loan from the state for the project. All right, moving along, council held a public hearing and approved the budget and tax levy for 2017. So we talked about the good news heading into 2017 is the bit of a surplus heading in.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much, it seems like a standard budget for this year, what was proposed, and the amount of the increase to the tax levy.
It is, and it's not going to be a big hit on taxpayers. Some will actually see a decrease, others will be stay the same, and some will go up. But they did a decent job in holding down the expenses, and I think that people will be okay with that. And so basically, they usually do a good job, of keeping it on the low side.
Yeah, and the tax levy is increasing. I believe the final number was 2.97%, so just under 3%. And as you said, homeowners, you should have already received your preliminary tax notice in the mail back in November that will show you what your city portion is increasing, if it is, along with the portions to the county and the school district.
The county and the school district, right. So there's three main portions there. And from what I've heard, the county is not going up much either. So,
yeah, and the school district was flat too, or declining. So.
Yeah, so there will be some people that are actually going down this year.
True, and it all depends too, like the value of your house, when it's assessed, and some of those changes too. So it's often hard to get a complete picture of it. And I know the city tracks several benchmark homes to sort of see the impact from it, but it really depends on everyone's individual properties, additions you've made, improvements, when your value was checked or your property was checked last.
Kind of a complicated system.
It is, but that's why they send out those notices so you can see what those increases are or decreases are. All right, so the budget was approved at that meeting. Moving along, council adopted a resolution. This approves plans and specifications and orders the ad for bids for the 2017 sanitary sewer lining, which we understand is the final year of that program.
Yep, and it's been going on for 10 years, and the sewers are going to be in good shape. The lining is actually better than the original clay pipe that they put in there. It's less prone to wear and tear. Should be good for many, many years. And it's another one of those infrastructure things that we had to put in the budget for 10 years. And but this will be the last year of it. And so, that's usually costs over $1 million a year. And now we'll be done with it.
Okay, this is the old clay tile pipe line that they basically go in there and they insert the stuff underground and
they put
inflate.
They put a little robot camera in there to see, what the damage is and what they have to do, and then they put that lining in there.
Yeah.
And it feels as hard as rock if you see it, but
it's an interesting process. I did a story on it several years back. Just interesting to see how they did the whole process.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, always coming up with better ways of doing things, and this is a lot cheaper than digging up all the sewer and clay pipe and putting new in, and it's actually better.
All right, so hopefully all the areas that need to be done are done following next year, and this will last us for many decades to come.
Many, many years.
All right. Council affirmed the denial of a rental license. This is to an owner at 10031 Norway Street, and there was a little bit of a discussion on this, as there always is with these types of appeals.
Part of the discussion was the idea of the law basically was to prevent certain people from having the keys to multiple apartments, not just one individual house. So there's going to be a workshop in the future where they're going to discuss that. In this particular situation, we didn't have any wiggle room according to the rules that we have to follow right now. Basically, we had to deny it. So that's the reason we came up with that.
Okay. Well, that's all the items we have to talk about from that first meeting. Other business was brought up that night, the Hope for Youth Transitional Housing. That's something that opened earlier this month in Coon Rapids.
Yeah, I think it's 12 units, and it's a good start. It takes 12 homeless youth off the streets, and it's to help them get settled, find job, get their life in, going the right direction. And it's a good thing. And we need more. We need to help the situation that exists out there right now with so many homeless youth. So if people hear ways of supporting that, we definitely encourage. Last fall in Bunker Hill, they had a lighted walk around, and they had something like 700 people, I think it was, that showed up for that, and things like that really help, and hopefully this momentum will keep going.
Yeah, and you have to start somewhere. Certainly, 12 seems small, but it's what they basically could afford to do at this point with donations in the building.
That's right.
They would have liked to stick more units in there to help more people, but
Well, I heard a story once, and it was, I think it kind of holds in this situation where a little kid was going along, and he picked up a starfish on the beach and threw it in the water. There were hundreds of starfish on the beach, and the guy walking by said, what good is that going to do? He said, what possible, amount of good could that do, throwing a starfish in the sea? He says, well, it means a lot to that one starfish. So 12 units are not a lot compared to the amount of homeless we have out there, but it means a lot to those 12 homeless youth. So hopefully we can just expand on it and keep it going.
all right. So excited to see that open after many months of construction there. We didn't talk about it beforehand, but I know you guys had a work session recently on the Riverwind building.
Yes.
And the future of the Riverwind building, which I know you're leaving the council, but there is some discussion about what exactly to do with that, because I know that's one of the park improvement projects for next year, correct, or the following year, the Riverwind Park.
It is, and it sounds like where the council is leaning right now is to try to leave part of the building, the architectural structure of it, there, in that structure to have bathrooms and maybe a meeting room. But as far as keeping the whole building with the amount of upgrades it would need, economically it's not feasible to do that. So, but there was some real sentiment toward trying to save part of it, because it's been there a long time, and it means something to the people that used it in years past, and if we can do that, we can do it. It would be a nice compromise.
Okay, so really just sort of in the discussion phase about what to do at this point?
It is, but I think it's leaning that direction, as to saving part of the building.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have there. As we mentioned off the top, this was your final meeting. This was also the final meeting for Councilmember Denise Clint, who's been on the council, I believe, for 18 years or so.
18 years, yep.
She's served Ward 1. You've been on for
12
years, so losing a lot of history there. Talk about, I guess, you leaving. I know we talked to Denise a couple months ago. Your thoughts on leaving?
Well, it's ready. I'm ready. It's time for me to move on. But I've enjoyed the whole time I've spent on the council. And part of that is because of the people that I've gotten to know on the council. We've been very fortunate in that we've had a council that have been able to disagree without carrying it forward from one meeting to another. We've been able to agree to disagree, basically, on certain things. The people that I've seen on the council that have come and gone have been there for the right reasons. They were there to try to make the city a better place. And people have different views as to how to do that, which is a healthy thing, because you don't want a council where everybody says, everybody agrees on everything. You have to have some discussion on things. And the council right now, the people that are on there, each one of them has kind of an expertise, and that's healthy for the council also. And I think the two people that are coming to replace us are going to be good people also. I believe the city is in good hands. The council, they're very solid. They have the health of the city in mind. The staff is good. So we have good people running the city. So that makes me feel good leaving the council, knowing that the people that are still there are going to be doing a good job. But have mixed feelings. Obviously, I'm gonna miss it, but at the same time, I'm you know, I like I said, I'm ready to leave it. So.
Yeah. Are there one or two things that you're most proud of accomplishing over your term on the council?
Well, we'll start out with the fact that I'm disappointed that Riverwalk hasn't been done yet. That's been an ongoing thing for I don't know how many years. And we thought we had two developers that were coming in. One of them expected the city to put too much into it. And so there's only one developer now that's interested in that area, and they're going to be looking at others. Obviously, it would have been nice to have been able to see something happen starting, before I left. Yeah. Hopefully that's still, it won't take long before that does get going. I guess I just feel, I feel good that I was a strong voice, I think, in terms of keeping quality things coming, not just settling for development. There were some developments many years ago that I thought were settled and not really what we should have had, but that's in past years. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot done since I've been in the council of Riverdale. And like I say, I've been, I think, a strong voice in making sure that we try to consistently have good quality developments, not just anything. So I feel good about that. And also, I think the park referendum that we had and the connecting of the trails, I feel good about that. And so there have been a lot of things. And obviously, I haven't been the sole purpose that these things have happened. It's been a combined effort of the citizens being willing to pay for these things, and the council and the staff. So, but yeah, I'm leaving it with some positive feelings, which is good.
All right. So what's next for Ron?
Well, I've been retired from counseling for several years, and but I'm planning on staying involved, one way or the other. And there's other ways of being involved, rather other than being on the council. Maybe I'll do a little more traveling. Eileen and I, when you're on the council, you have to really plan around all the stuff that comes up. So maybe I'll do a little more traveling with Eileen and just try to stay busy.
Yeah.
And it's all good.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of free Tuesday nights now, right?
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, until someone calls you and say, "Hey, Ron,
yeah,
we got something for you."
Yep.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here today and talking to us about the meetings. That's all I have, unless there's anything else you want to add.
Nope, and I appreciate you having me here.
All right, it's been great working with you over the years.
You too.
Good luck to you. Thank you at home for watching, and we'll see you back here again in the new year after our first two meetings in January.